Hello guys, Detroit88 back with another episode of Let's Play OpenTTD. Now, last time we had just sort of renovated this train line, and we also were trying to make a couple of the cities grow. Now, one thing I noticed that was interesting when I loaded up the game is that this town is almost completely square. I have no idea why. Normally when I design these towns, there's some weird shape like this guy, or they're longer in one direction than another, they look like a giant L. But I have no idea why this town is perfectly square. It could be the way I set things up in the town, but I doubt it's that, because right now it's grown every 10 days roughly, which is pretty good rate for any town in this game. But yeah, I was sort of thinking, since I renovated this, I was going to run a train over here. That was my thought. Now, in order to do that, we have quite a few hills to go over here, and then bring everything back up and around. So I'm going to go ahead and, okay, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and try and add in a train here. Now what I'm going to try and do to not anger them is make it so that I don't have to equalize out a lot of the land, because they're going to get very mad very quickly if I do that. Alright, so we'll have to go there. Okay, yep, so we do have to equalize a little bit of land out, which is perfectly fine. You go up, you come back down. Alright, I'm going to have you do that. Now we're going to try to see if they'll let us, and they will, minus that little area. So that's good news, because that just means that they will have the ability to grow a little bit. Alright, we'll do one there and there. Now this is sort of going to be a weirder setup, it looks like. Alright, so in that case, alright, so you are pretty equal until we get to here. And we're going to go ahead and equalize this little bit of land out too, just so we can run the trains in essence straight through. Alright, there, and there we go. Yep, so now we sort of have to come... Okay, that was weird. That was not what I wanted to do. So what we're going to have to do is equalize some land out, like right here. We'll probably want to do about 3 or so. Or 4. That'll work fine too. That'll just give us plenty of room to run into here with everything. Because in essence what we're doing is we're running straight up this hill, straight across over these tracks, and then we're going to take an immediate turn, and I'm going to extend this one more, and then we run straight into the tracks here. That seems to be a better way to go about things. Alright, there we go. So now it's just going to be a matter of linking this up, and then what direction do we have the signals going. That'll be the hard part, probably, of this whole thing, since we pretty much have everything else laid out. Alright, we're going to get rid of you, and we're going to get rid of you, and you. Now hopefully in the meantime the trains don't freak out about all that. Looks like they shouldn't. Which means you should be on that side. Okay. That seems right. Yeah, I probably angered the town a lot because we just dug this massive trench in essence through their city. But at this point, I'm not too worried about that city. We're only going to do these double signals so then we don't have one massive link being like this, the whole bridge or everything like that. Now when we come down to here, it's going to be interesting. We'll do one there. We'll do our little entry signal here. And we'll do our exit signals there. And theoretically, that should work. So let's see, how far is that going to extend? Not going to get a lot of passengers, but we should get enough. How many passengers are at this one little station? 1,600 passengers. That's a slight issue. So we're going to make a bus station that runs directly from that into here. And the only purpose of that station is to, in essence, feed this rail line. Now we have tons of these guys waiting. Is that probably because they downed wood production again? Yes. Yes, they did. And we probably have more efficient vehicles, so that's probably the other reason too. Yep, so you're going to go to the depot? Okay, well then, you're being ignored. You're going to go to the depot. You're going to go to the depot. You're going to go to the depot, and you're going to go to the depot. And this should hopefully lessen the insane amount of vehicles we have that are completely useless right now. And I'm going to send you two. That's just so we have the ability to... Alright, where's the depot? Depot seems to be... right where? Oh, that one has a lot of passengers too. So we'll probably want to add in two of these. But the depot is right here. Right. There we go. We're going to sell everything. New vehicle. Do a bus from here to here. Full load and transfer. So you'll do that. New vehicle. Bus. You'll go from here to here. Full load and transfer. There we go. So now we just have to run a train into here. And this is getting to be very, very intricate rail system, at least in this area. Because we got two rail lines coming into here, and in essence like 3 stations in a very short area. I mean, that's not a bad thing, but it can be a little confusing. Alright, you. I need 2 of those. I was debating making these trains a little bit longer, potentially. And the only reason for that is going to be so that we can, in fact, run more passengers along the line. You're going to wait there and full load. And go. Not going to wait for a full load from here. These guys probably are, they're okay with us. So we're going to start expanding their town. And the only reason for that is so we can influence more passengers into the area. And that's normally the only reason you would do a lot of this stuff anyway. And they probably still don't hate us. Have you go here and go. So we did sort of efficiently mess with a couple of things just now, which helps. Yep, okay, whatever. They should, in fact... How many passengers do we have here? A lot of passengers there, but I think this run here is going to get us almost nothing. Alright. There we go. I'm going to clone one of you, just because then we can keep the amount of passengers flowing in and out of that station decent. And you are this train here. We'll actually make two of you, just so then we don't run out of, or at least we don't build up tons of passengers at the station, because all they're constantly doing is bringing passengers into the station, which I mean isn't an issue, but I feel like we're going to have two full train loads here right off the bat. Yep, right off the bat there. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to make one more of those trains. I'm going to ignore those little pop-ups for a second. And they need to be you. There we go. Yep, and it's not really doing much to minimize the amount of passengers on these stations. That, and we have tons of full loads going in and out of here. So I'm almost debating if it isn't better to just plow that, because they like us, and make this a little bit less of a hassle compared to this. This we can't really avoid. This little interchange with the tunnels and then up on the tracks. We could do one less and run across the road there. That's going to slow down road vehicles more. And I feel like in this area the road vehicles are a little bit more important than the trains. But over here, if we got rid of that, it could probably increase, well, we're not noticing efficiency issues, but it could probably increase efficiency by quite a bit. And we're going to make probably another 3 of those trains, just so then we have enough trains to hopefully, there we go. I want this bus cloned. You are getting cloned, and then you are getting cloned. So I can tell everything to go all at once. Got a lot of messages there as to vehicles not making enough profit. There we go. So we'll start having them do that. And we're going to get a lot of passengers on top of the normal amount of passengers that just inflow into the station. Now I want to add on another like 2 of these, just so the buses have plenty of room to get into the station. Alright, there we go. Alright, we still have tons of people running into that station. So we're going to probably clog up this little transit area very quickly, just on the sheer amount of trains we need for that station, because we already have like I think 9 trains running into the station, if I can count. I mean, it increases profits, which is good for us, but in turn we just have a stupid amount of passengers just waiting at this one station, which isn't always the greatest. Alright, there we go. You'll fill up, and you'll go. And we're still running, because each train is up 200 passengers, and we're still running into issues with not being able to transport all the passengers. But I think for now, because the amount of trains we have sheerly going into this one station, we shouldn't run into too much of an issue, just based on the fact that they're going to start whittling down the amount of passengers at the feeder stations too. So if we look at both of them, the only one that still has tons is going to be this one. I'm not going to plow that little building because they're going to get mad at us if we do that. Alright, so we're going to let you just do your thing. You're doing okay with passengers, and you just are by yourself. If we had passengers transporting into this, which I feel like in maybe another series, I was, but if we have passengers, in essence, if we have passengers flowing into this, it's going to clog this up because we're going to need so many trains to run down this line. Now, on the other hand, I think what I'm going to try and do maybe in the next Let's Play, if I do one of this, is going to be strictly passengers. I'm going to start out and show you guys sort of how to start with passengers. I've never really done it before myself, but I know the main things you have to do: pick out the cities and the larger places and just start making the cities as large as you can. And in essence, what I want to do is I want to try and cover like a massive area to where I can zoom out fully, and it's just entire cities in that area. That's my goal. But that'll be probably another Let's Play. I don't know if it's achievable, but I assume it would probably be, just because you can set up these massive stations everywhere. Now I'll probably have to change the conditions in that Let's Play from this one to where it's just an ungodly amount of inflation on it to where there's very little inflation or about normal inflation on it, which I think seems perfectly fine. But other than that, I think we'll be able to make a lot more. Now, as you can tell, we went up about 3 million in profits there. We can probably, because we aren't going to add any more trains on at this point, we can probably assume about 1 million on that, and probably about 250,000 on that, maybe roughly, would be the cost of inflation. Because if we look at this compared to the money it was back about 60 years ago versus now, that number would be a lot less without inflation, because before, like, passengers being transported, a full load of passengers at that rate would probably be transfer credits of like maybe 200, and you're looking at about 1,600, so that's about 8 times inflation, I think, roughly. So it'd be a lot less of a number than that, but right now we're trying to outrun inflation. That's our goal, because we keep trying to increase company value, and we are doing that somewhat, it looks like, successfully. And that's without airplanes. That's the other thing I think if I do another Let's Play of this that I would highlight is the aircraft and how to use those to your an advantage, and maybe not rely on those as primary vehicles, but like secondary vehicles. So like where you have massive amounts of population, instead of using tons upon tons upon tons of trains, you just use an airport that can run like a dozen planes into it at a time, and it's a lot faster. Or a combination of an airport with a train station, because that's the most efficient you can get in this game with transport on passengers, is have the massive spread of the airport and then also have a train station linked to it, so then any of the planes that can't get in and transport passengers constantly, the trains can pick that up. And that's the best way to improve efficiency at a station, because if we look at this now, oh, that's not what I wanted. We have poor ratings because we have tons of passengers waiting. Now, if we look here, it's a lot better, but that's probably only because we have tons of trains going in and out of the station. That's because, from what I've figured, I assume there's probably a way to look this up. The way you determine the ratings of the station is how long cargo sits there, how long vehicles sit in this sit in the station, and then also how long of there's another one that I thought of. I think it was number of stations running into it. I think that all, to an extent, determines the ratings. I could be wrong on that because there's probably an actual rating system on it. Because like right here we have very good, but we only have good on passengers, and that's probably because we're keeping the amount of the amount of mail low. When we have massive trains run in, they have nothing sitting there, which increases ratings a lot. Versus we have all these passengers here, so they're going to start bringing down our rating. But we have so many trains running into here that in turn our ratings should go up, just due to the sheer amount of passengers we move in and out of the station. And that's what I figured. The other nice part about ratings too, the higher the rating you have, the the more they give you per month. With passenger stations, I don't think it matters as much with them as it does good stations, because with passenger stations, it's not like they can increase or decrease the amount of passengers other than by increasing or decreasing an overall city population. So that's what I know from the workings of the game. But as you can see, we don't really have trains waiting here long. And the rating keeps going up because we just have trains that keep coming in here and just grab tons of everything. So that helps us a lot. And then mail's going up a lot because we have almost nothing sitting there. And yeah, I think that'll be the end of the episode here. As always, guys, thank you for watching. If it wasn't for you guys, I probably wouldn't be doing this. If you do have any ideas on this game or any other games, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. I know one game I was looking into was RimWorld, because it's sort of like a building game, sort of like this. Um, but other than that, just leave comments about anything you want below. And I will see you guys in the next episode.